We're visiting the world's first floating offshore wind project where 5 turbines are generating enough clean electricity in the North Sea to power about 35,000 homes in the United Kingdom.
So this is kind of an overview of Hywind. So we're about 25 kilometres offshore. So 6 meg turbines, we've got 30 megawatt production, and the wind speeds averaging about 10 metres a second.
The National Wildlife Federation has been advocating for the responsible development of offshore wind for over 10 years now, and we launched this program out of a concern for the climate crisis, the impact that our reliance on fossil fuels has on wildlife, habitat, and communities. And offshore wind, at the time that we launched our program, was the largest untapped clean energy solution in the United States. So we have a lot of potential off our shores.
It's the only way we're going to meet our climate goals, and the only way we're going to be able to protect species and biodiversity as a whole. Development of offshore wind is an industrial process. We worry about vessel collision, ocean noise. We also worry about potentially secondary entanglement with offshore wind infrastructure.
We worry about all of these aspects, and we are constantly trying to shape the industry to avoid those impacts as much as possible. Floating offshore wind is a promising new technology that can help us harness the clean energy that we need to combat climate change while minimizing the noise impacts on marine wildlife like whales and sea turtles and fish. Today, the vast majority of offshore wind turbines are built on steel piles that need to be installed into the seafloor. And so the process for that, it's called pile driving. It's like loud hammering. But the significant difference with floating offshore wind is that the manufacturing and assembly of a turbine happens close to shore, and then the turbine is towed out to the project site and anchored to the seafloor. So one of our largest, most significant concerns for marine mammals and the noise impact of construction is that hammering process, that ongoing underwater noise, and that's an element that is removed during floating turbine installation.
The ocean is the basis of much of our food chain. And what makes an ocean food chain resilient and stable is biodiversity. A primary threat to biodiversity is climate change. And in order to transition to a cleaner energy economy, we need floating offshore wind. We need to be able to access the wind resource in the deeper parts of the ocean than what we access now.
The North Sea is a harsh and unforgiving environment. If floating offshore wind can be successful here, it can be successful anywhere. We need everyone's help to support the responsible development of offshore wind. We need to press the federal government to lease and permit good areas and responsibly develop projects. We need states and utilities to agree to buy this power and bring it into our energy mix. And we need communities to agree to allow these cables to interconnect and to host port infrastructure to support the development of offshore wind. This is everyone's endeavor, and we need all hands on deck. We have the solutions to stop the climate crisis from worsening. We have the funding to make this a reality. Right now in the United States, we're seeing the largest investments in renewable energy ever made. What we don't have is time.